Hey everybody, if you've joined me. Today is Sunday, October 11th, 2020. I'm out in the UMass Cold Spring Orchard. It's a nice pre-Columbus Day Sunday and the crowds are out, but I'm in my variety block here and we've been following this little group of Evercrisp trees since last January or February when we were out pruning them, so I kind of thought you might like to see what they look like now before I start to pick them. Evercrisp is just, I think, just starting to be ready to be picked, but probably should be picked over the next week or so. I'm going to flip the camera so you don't have to look at me talking, so you can see what the Evercrisp look like. Here we go. Let's see how we can make this smooth or not. Now, there's 30 trees here. These are on Geneva 41 rootstock. And I can't remember. They're 6 or 7 years old. These Evercrisp have been habitually fairly shy-bearing, not real heavy crops. And you can see particularly in the bottom of the trees, there's not a lot of apples. We did have some variable fruit set here. Some varieties set good this year, and others didn't set so great. But you can see the crop in the top of the trees is a little better. You know, that could have been a, don't want to go that way because you can't see. That could have been a result of the thinning, maybe a little over thinning in the bottoms and a little under thinning in the top. So I don't think they're under thinned. They're a little clustered up there. But definitely more fruit on the top of the tree than the bottoms. These Geneva 40, I guess we're back on. My wireless signal's been rather dubious, Verizon. Thank you out here in the orchard lately. Anyway, let's not belabor these. You know, for Evercrisp, you want to look for the darkest red apples to pick first. They're typically on the periphery of the canopy or on the top of the tree. I think Evercrisp will benefit from 2 picks. I'd go through and pick the darkest, reddest apples right now. Wait for a little more color. Apparently I'm back. I don't know for how long. I was going to say pick the brightest, deepest red Evercrisp to start. Do 1 pick and probably wait 4 or 5 days. I'd finish picking these by next weekend. I hear that if you pick them later, they're not going to store as well. So if you're going to store them for any length of time, you know, definitely picking them sooner than later is probably a good idea. They eat good right now. Nice sweet flavor. These Evercrisp being a cross between Honeycrisp and Fuji. So I don't know how this is going to work out or what you missed on the live broadcast. Hopefully it'll be okay and I can save it. I'm sure everybody's busy with their pick your own crowds on this busy weekend. But I'm going to go look at some Suncrisp now. Let's see if we can keep this going. Switch it around to my mug here. The Suncrisp are right down past the Evercrisp. These Evercrisp are on the left. I think the cellular network is getting overcrowded. I don't know what to say. Anyways, I need orchard-wide Wi-Fi if anybody's got any bright ideas. So these are the Evercrisp on the left on Geneva 41, the shaded side of the tree. I've noticed that the west side of the tree seems to have more colored apples, which makes sense, I suppose. I don't know. That's maybe just a bad anecdotal observation. All right, let's take a look at the Suncrisp. Now, these Suncrisp are nearly 20 years old. These trees are planted 2 feet apart. These are on bud 9 rootstock. I can see the red leaves on the rootstock. I've picked 3 or 4 bushels out of this group of 30 trees, mostly on the bottom. I haven't picked the tops at all yet. But Suncrisp, I think, is one of the prettiest apples you'll find out there. These trees have been, you know, pretty weak over the course of their life. It's kind of interesting. But still, 20 years old, still bearing nicely. Again, I've picked the bottom of the trees, the best apples, and Suncrisp, you want to wait until the background color kind of starts to go to yellow. You certainly don't want it dark green. I mean, that could go a little longer. There are definitely some in here though where it's very light green or fading to yellow, and I would look at picking those first. But I think Suncrisp has Cox Orange Pippin in its background, and I think a little bit of that shines through with that orange, red, pink luster on the fruit. But I think one of the prettiest apples out there. Suncrisp is a fairly complex flavor. I assume I'm still live, but nobody's watching. I guess that's too boring. I'll put it on the recording afterwards. Let's see here. Here's some, yeah, it's getting light green. Again, I picked most of the apples that had a yellow background. But really enjoy picking these Suncrisp and growing these apples. Like I said, a complex flavor, a little tart, sweet, and the customers really like these. Probably could have used a little more hand thinning on the tops of the trees. That's one thing about Suncrisp. It is biennial. And you definitely want to make sure you thin it good to get good fruit quality. If you don't thin it sufficiently, the apples are small and lacking flavor. So, that's all. It's Sunday. I've got some house chores I need to go home and do, but while the weather was good, I wanted to share the Evercrisp and Suncrisp with you. So have a good weekend and good Columbus Day holiday, and we'll check in with you at some other point in time. Take care.